Hey guys, so in this video, I wanted to talk about ExpressVPN's privacy and security and how they rank up when compared with some of the other top VPNs available today. Now, before we get into this, let's just give a quick overview of how a VPN actually works. So you connect up to a VPN and that will do two things. That will keep your data safe and protected so that nobody can access it, no hackers or your internet service provider or the government, nobody can see what you're doing online. And it'll also make it seem as if you're somewhere else in the world, giving you anonymity and more privacy. And when you connect to the internet, it'll seem as if you're somewhere else wherever you chose, and your physical location won't be revealed to websites that you visit on the internet. So just to show you in practice with ExpressVPN, I'm just going to go ahead and disconnect first, and then we'll go to the location bar right here and we'll have a list of locations. With Express, you have 105 countries, and in a lot of these countries, let's say the United States, you have a little arrow right here and then you get a bunch of options within that country. So here we have different cities, and let's say I wanted to connect to Miami, right? I can connect up to that and then just X this, go over to the connection button, click on that. In a second, it turns green and we're connected up now to a server in the United States in Miami. And now not only will my information be protected and secure, it'll be encrypted, but what will also happen is that any website I visit will now think that I'm in the United States in Miami. So that gives me an added layer of privacy. It makes it very hard for anybody to track me down. And there are also some other benefits. For example, if I wanted to access Netflix or streaming content from a streaming website and I wanted to access a library in a certain area, for example, now if I went to Netflix, I would have the entire United States content library regardless of my physical location. But that's not really connected to privacy and security. That's just an added benefit of this. So now that we understand how a VPN works, we can go into the ExpressVPN Trust Center. And there are a few points I want to touch on here, which will give us a really good understanding of how ExpressVPN is holding up when it comes to privacy and security. So there's a lot of information here. It's just expressvpn.com/trust. And you can have a read through here. There are some really good stuff, but I want to touch on a few points. So the first thing is the threat of stolen keys, or the threat that somebody may come and impersonate a VPN server. So when you go into the VPN right here, I'm connected up to a server in Miami. Now, if somebody would get a hold of that server, they could potentially pretend to be the ExpressVPN server that I'm connecting to, but in reality, I would be connecting up to who knows where, and they can be keeping track and seeing everything that I'm doing. Now, that might sound far-fetched, but it actually did happen. Windscribe, a different VPN, their servers were seized by the Ukrainian government. Those servers were actually not encrypted, and the Ukrainian government got the ability to be able to impersonate and pretend to be a Windscribe server, and anybody who would go and connect up to those servers might think that they're connecting to a Windscribe server, but in reality, the Ukrainian government would be able to spy on them and see everything that they were doing online. So this is really important. One of the main weak links when using a VPN is the server that you're connecting to, and ExpressVPN has a system in place where the application itself authenticates and makes sure that is actually connecting up to a real ExpressVPN server. So that's a big deal and something that you want to make sure that your VPN is doing when you're in the market for one. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is the level of encryption, or basically how well the VPN is keeping your data safe. Because even if the server is an ExpressVPN server, it's the right server, the problem is that somebody might be able to hack it and get access to your information. Now, there is something called post-quantum support. And this is because as time goes on, quantum computing is becoming a reality. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically like a regular computer, but on steroids. It is a super fast, super powerful computer. And while we're still a few years away until this becomes more adopted and widespread, there are experts who are recommending now switching over to a level of encryption and security that even quantum computers will not be able to crack. And what has been happening is that hackers are getting access to information, even if they can't access it now, but they're getting it and storing it for a few years down the line when they'll be able to use quantum computing in order to crack that information and get access to it. So ExpressVPN is one of the first and still one of the only VPNs that right now is using a level of security, a level of encryption that quantum computers will not be able to crack even down the road. So even right now, if somebody would get access to the protected data, and right now they wouldn't be able to access it, even a few years down the line with the more powerful computers, they still wouldn't be able to access it. And that is something that very few VPNs, and ExpressVPN is one of them, can offer. Now, kind of the elephant in the room here is, what about the VPN themselves, right? Even if nobody's impersonating the VPN server, nobody else can access your data, but what about the VPN themselves? Maybe they can access and see what you're doing online, and they can hand that information over now to the government or to just any buyer. They can sell it. And that has actually happened as well. There were instances of VPNs, specifically free VPNs, where they had data breaches and millions of user records were leaked out over the internet. And that's because with free VPNs, not all of them, but a lot of them are actually storing user information, and that's what they're selling, that's what they're making a profit. As the saying goes, if something is free, you are probably the product. So that's why every reputable VPN, including ExpressVPN, will have a no logs policy, meaning that they won't keep any user information local on their own servers. And with ExpressVPN, they have something called trusted server. All their data is wiped. They use RAM only servers, so nothing is being stored. Even if the government or somebody would come to them and ask them for user information, they wouldn't have it. This actually happened a few years back. The Turkish government was doing an investigation. They tried to get information from Express, but Express just didn't have it. They even have on their website a transparency report a little bit down here where they list all of the requests that they've had from government or law enforcement agencies for personal information, but in all of these cases, they cannot give it because they just don't have it. And how do we know that they don't have it? Are we just taking them at their word? No, we are not. They are doing independent security audits by having outside third-party companies, unbiased companies, come in and verify their security systems, ensuring that everything that they're doing is secure and that they really do have a no logs policy. On top of that, if you're worried about the 5, 9, or 14 Eyes Alliance, ExpressVPN is based in the British Virgin Islands, and even though the UK is part of the 5 Eyes Alliance, the British Virgin Islands are not part of that. They are not part of any alliance, so you don't have to worry about governments sharing information, which with some other VPNs is the case. They are located in 5, 9, or 14 Eyes Alliance, which is not that great because that means that if they do get personal information, it'll quickly be shared around the world. So just to wrap things up over here, when it comes to a VPN that puts privacy and security first, and I've tested and reviewed many VPNs, both free and paid, I can definitely say that ExpressVPN is one of the best in this regard. They have just done so much. They have a reputation and a proven track record that they really do care about their customers' privacy and security. So if those are things that you're looking for in a VPN, I would definitely recommend this one right here. So if you want to find out more about Express, I'll be sure to have a link for a full in-depth review in the description below, as well as a discount link that will save you some extra money if you want to try it out. I'll also have some links there for some of the other top VPNs available on the market. Like I mentioned, privacy and security is not the only thing that there is to VPNs. There are other areas to them as well. I mentioned streaming before, there are others. So I'll have some more VPN options for you in the description below. If you have anything you want me to cover, please leave a comment down below. I read all the comments and try to get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one.